Good afternoon, everybody. Colin here with Techout. Today we're going to be doing a flash of the next beta on the Samsung Galaxy S9. So first things first is we have the phone in download mode, as you can see right now. So the phone's in download mode. We're going to pop over here to Odin. I've already started inserting some of the files. So we are using ARI6 is what we are going to flash back to. Using Odin. So we're going to flash back to ARI6, and then we are going to go back up to BRJ5, and from BRJ5 we'll be able to sideload the newest beta, which is ZRK9. It is CRKD right here, the one from the 20th. CRKD is the current one that we're going to be flashing. So we're going to go ahead and hit start on Odin. We have all our files in here, so we're using the home CSC, so that will not wipe our data. So we're going to go ahead and hit start, and as you can see, the phone is going to start downloading that here in a second. You'll see the little bar pop up as soon as it verifies the files, and we should be good to go here. Okay, so there we go. It is starting. You saw the bar pop up right there on the side. So we're going to wait for that to finish. Odin is just doing its thing right here. So this will take about 2 or 3 minutes to complete. And once it is done, we will reboot the phone. I'll show you how to do that. We're going to reboot it before it actually tries to start up. And then we are going to use ADB sideload. And we are going to sideload BRJ5 right here, because BRJ5, the update path for CRKD is from BRJ5 to CRKD, so we can't go from any of the other builds. We have to go from BRJ5 to get up to CRKD. That's why we're flashing back to ARI6. We do have ARIB here as well, so if I was going to ZRK9, we would flash back to ARIB using Odin, and then we would directly sideload ZRK9 because there's no in-between for that one. So the phone's over here doing its thing. We're just going to let it finish. And as soon as it is done with Odin, I'll show you how to reboot it. And hopefully we can avoid data loss doing it this way. Normally I do, but sometimes we'll have an issue where we lose the IMEI and we have to do a full factory reset, Odin back, and come back again. And usually that will mean you lose your data. I do have it backed up with Samsung Cloud though, so it's usually pretty good about getting data back. But there are some times where not everything restores all the way. So here's our progress on Odin. I'm just going to sit here and be quiet for a minute and let it finish. If you guys have any questions, you guys can leave them in the chat. I am watching the chat right now, and I will be happy to answer any questions you may have. And again, I am doing this live, so this, if you're watching this later on, this is unedited. So there may be some long wait times between processes as the phone does some stuff and downloads stuff, because I'm not editing anything out or anything like that. So I'm going to try to, hopefully maybe somebody will ask some questions or something like that, and I will have some to answer and keep you guys entertained while we wait for the phone. Like I said, nothing really takes more than 2 or 3 minutes to do. We're just over halfway on the Odin flash, so you can see there we're almost done with that. So it shouldn't be too much longer, and then I'll show you that reboot process and what we'll do from there. Like I said, I am using the home CSC, so this does not wipe the data. So when you go into your recovery menu, you're not going to wipe your data. We are going to try to avoid that to retain our data and just do it as an update. Normally the end here goes pretty fast. So we're going to have to sideload 2 things. So while that finishes up, I'm actually going to go ahead and we'll get ready with ADB. So I have that right here on my computer under the local disk platform tools. So we're just going to open Windows PowerShell. We're going to open that right there, and then we'll just pop back into Odin because we're not going to use that just quite yet until it is complete here. So it's going to finish and get to the end here, and the phone will reboot. So we are on the last stages here. So as soon as that reboots, I'm going to switch back over to the camera and show you guys what we are going to see. So it says reset, pass, the phone is rebooting. So we're going to go ahead and let that power back on. So wait for it to finish this part right here. And you'll see this right here, it's going to say erasing, don't worry about that. It does that every time, it's completely normal. And it's going to reboot once again. And normally when you do this, you will get a T-Mobile boot screen because of the SIM cards in there and everything like that. So don't really worry about the boot screen if you're on another carrier. That should correct itself later on. So we'll see the Samsung, T-Mobile. So we're going to wait just a second, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to wait one more second or two. So we have the T-Mobile screen here. We're going to hit our power button and our volume down button by themselves. The phone is going to power off, and as soon as it powers off, you're going to do power, Bixby, and volume up, and wait for the phone to power on. Continue to hold them until you see that blue Android screen again. And once you see that, you can go ahead and let go. Now on this menu here, we're going to use the volume and go down to apply update from ADB and hit the power button to select it. So now we are ready for ADB. We're on that screen. Just leave it just right there and go back over to your computer. You can go ahead and close Odin. We're done with that. So you're going to do, if you're in PowerShell, /ADB sideload, put a space there. Then you're going to go back over here. Like I said, we are going to be using BRJ5 is the first one we're going to sideload. So just grab that, drag it in here, just click back up there, hit enter, and let it do its thing. So you can see there it started successfully, and it's going to say serving, and it's going to count the percentage, and then the phone is going to start updating from that side load, and you'll say it'll say verifying update package for quite a while until you see about 50% on here, and then you should start to see things move. If you get an error, make sure your file on your computer is good. I've had that before where the file downloaded and it was corrupted, so it wouldn't send it to the phone. I just had to re-download it. If you're trying to go back from an update, so if you're on like a Pi build and you try to sideload a Oreo build, it's going to fail because the file, it's going to try to verify the file and make sure the timestamp is a newer file, which is the reason we have to Odin back and then update back up to these files. Now if you're on the official beta program, you won't have this issue. You're going to get these OTA over the air automatic updates in your settings preferences like normal. I'm not part of the beta program, I didn't sign up for it, so I have to manually sideload the beta updates this way as they come out. And I'm going to show you how to find those. Obviously you're going to want to use a form to keep up to date, but this is the website I download them from, samsung.firmware.science. So I have the Galaxy S9 Plus, and like I said, so the current version we're on is not going to be on here right now, but this is how you find a file. So say you're on the current beta. If we go to BRJ5, you're going to see CRKD November 19th. That's the one we're installing. So you have to go from BRJ5 to one of these. You can go from BRJ5 to any of these right here. Obviously, you're going to want to go to the newest one. But if we go to ARI6, which is what we just Odin back to, you're going to see the latest one for that is October 29th. So the latest file is not available. You're not able to come from ARI6 to the latest update. You can go to BRJ5, and you can see here if you go from BRJ5, you go to BRJ5, you can go to CRKD. So that's how you have to get to the newest file. You can't always go from the Odin file to the newest one. You likely would have to go from one, sideload, and then go back to the other. So you can see here we're about 56%, and we're starting to get some movement on the phone here, which is good. So we're going to let that do its thing. The last part here usually takes about 2 minutes once we hit 50%. So we do have a couple more minutes remaining. Again, once this gets there, we're going to reboot the phone just like we did, and we're going to go back over here and we're going to sideload ZRK9 from BRJ5. And I am looking in the chat. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask them while we wait for this. And again, I'm just going to sit here and be quiet for a minute, and we will let this finish up. still moving along quite nicely. Usually once you get it started, you won't have any errors. I've never had an error pop up after the initial, after it's initially started, so you shouldn't have to worry about that. If anything weird happens, best thing I can suggest is just try it again. Just start from the beginning, try again. Sometimes stuff just randomly happens, and I've always found that just going back to the basics, starting over, usually fixes it. Another thing, you're going to want to make sure your phone is charged. I would say at least at 50%, because at least with my computer, it doesn't charge all that fast doing this. So the battery sometimes does actually drain even though it's plugged in and powered from the computer. Sometimes it just doesn't provide enough power. So you're going to want to make sure your device is adequately charged just to be sure that it doesn't die in the middle of this, because that would really mess things up. That's probably the last thing you want to happen. Alright, so I'm having some issues with my connection here, but the phone has just rebooted again. Sorry I missed the last part of that. Like I said, I'm having some connection issues. I don't know if you guys are getting this part, but we're going to let it go back to the T-Mobile logo. So we're there now. Sorry, the connection, the bitrate is really low right now for some reason. So we're going to hold down and reboot again. And then all three at the same time with volume up. Wait for the blue screen. Alright, sorry, I was having some issues. I've adjusted the bitrate, so hopefully it comes back. And it looks like we have the issue I was just talking about where... Oh, no. Okay, let's try it. Oh, nope, sorry, I tried to sideload the wrong build, because I was trying to fix the internet. So we're going to try that again. And we're going to do CRKD this time instead of ZRK9 like I accidentally did. And we're going to hit enter. Like I said, sorry if you guys missed part of the process. I don't know how bad it buffered or skipped or whatever happened. All of a sudden the bitrate dropped to 0 and I dropped all my frames. But the only thing we did was after it finished sideloading the other beta, we restarted it just like we did before with the three volume down, power, hold those till it turns off. All three buttons with volume up. Reboot it, ADB sideload, and we're doing it again for the CRKD build. So you guys really didn't miss anything. It was the same process. But Heyman, if you're still here, I know you said you just joined right when we started having issues. What I was doing, we are updating to the new Pi beta build. I am not part of the beta program, so we have to manually install them with sideloading them through ADB. So we're going to let this one finish, and then after this, the phone should reboot, go through a little update, and then we should be good to go after that. This one does look like it's going pretty fast, so that is a good thing. And hopefully once it reboots, we have an IMEI and we have our data. because if we don't have an IMEI, then we will have to flash back and start all over again, which likely will kill our data because we'll have to erase it. Like I said, once we hit that 50%, we should start seeing it scoot up on the stuff here after the verification. All this other stuff is just from when we did it last time. It doesn't go away because the phone hasn't rebooted since then. So we're about to 50% right now. Alright, so we're coming up on the final 40% here. Like I said, once we hit like 70, 80, it starts to speed up a little bit. Just depends on the size of the build. If you have an SD card, you can also put this file on your SD card. So after you Odin back, you can always use an SD card to do this too. You don't have to have it hooked up to your computer. I usually just do it through the computer though, because it sends, you'd have to plug it into the computer to transfer the SD card anyway. So I might as well just do it all in one go. And for those of you just joining, we're just waiting on this to finish up, and then we will see what happens. Alright, so we're at 88%. Here in a second we should see it reboot. %. $92, and we're starting to see it move. $93. Here we go. Should be restarting in just a second. Now when it restarts this time, you're going to want to leave it on and let it fully boot up, because if everything went right, you should be done. And here we go, we're about to hit 95 and it should restart. I've never actually, yep, there we go. So it's done, and restart. So if everything went right, we should be complete. Now keep in mind, since you did just do an update, it may sit on the screen longer than it would during a normal boot, so just let it sit here for a minute. Shouldn't take too long, but I've seen it take a minute or two before. Okay, so phone is updating. That is what we want to see. Let me just make sure we get our IMEI. If you don't have service, then you probably lost your IMEI during the upgrade and you'll have to go back. So we do have a signal. We have a signal, we have Wi-Fi, and about phone, we have the IMEI, so we are good to go. You successfully updated it. Everything is looking good. And let's see if I can show it without showing my IMEI and all that information. If we go to software version, you can see we are on CRKD, One UI, Samsung Experience version 10, and Android version 9. So you have successfully updated your phone, and as you can see there, all my apps are still there. We still have all the data and everything like that, so everything is working perfectly, just as we expected, and that is how you sideload your build of Android. This has been Colin with Techout. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more types of videos like this. As always, have a great day.